War and peace are competing, it seems, to dominate the headlines. On one side, you have a conflict that is showing no signs of easing. On the other side is a world scrambling hard to find some sort of peace. Let me explain this. Amid the war in Gaza, Yemen-based Houthis have attacked 4 ships in the Red Sea, also in the Indian Ocean. Like we just told you, Iran-aligned Houthis have launched repeated drone and missile strikes in the Red Sea, Bab el-Mandeb Strait and the Gulf of Aden since November, forcing shippers to reroute cargo to longer and even more expensive journeys around southern Africa. And the thing is, the US and the UK have carried out strikes against the Houthis in retaliation for their attacks on ships crossing the Red Sea, but clearly it's not working. The latest Houthi attack is part of their ongoing campaign against Israel's military action in Gaza. They say they attack ships to express solidarity with Palestinians in Gaza. Israel's war on Gaza has claimed the lives of at least 34,000 people so far. Gaza has virtually been reduced to rubble as a result of Israel's war on Hamas. The scale of death and destruction in Gaza has shaken the conscience of the world. Now, the International Criminal Court, ICC, is investigating both Hamas and Israel's role in the war. The ICC can charge individuals with war crimes, crimes against humanity, and genocide. According to news agency Reuters, ICC prosecutors have already started interviewing staff from Gaza's 2 biggest hospitals about possible crimes in the Gaza Strip. Remember, during the 7 months of war, the 2 main hospitals in Gaza, both became high-profile targets for Israel. They were surrounded, besieged, and stormed by the Israeli forces, who accused Hamas of using them for military purposes. The Hamas and the medical staff at these hospitals deny this. But in recent days, Palestinian officials have also demanded investigations. This after hundreds of bodies were exhumed in mass graves at Nasser Hospital. Palestinian authorities say they uncovered bodies that bear signs of having been shot in the head, their hands bound by zip ties, stripped of their clothes, or buried in hospital gowns, with tubes or needles still in their skin. Among the dead were women and children, and this raised questions about the circumstances surrounding their deaths during the months of intense fighting in and around Nasser Hospital. Now, what does Israel have to say about all this? It denies wrongdoing. Israel has acknowledged exhuming bodies, then reburying them in its search for hostages. As far as war crimes are concerned, Israel vehemently denies it. Israel says that its military activity around hospitals is justified in its search for Hamas fighters. But you see, what Israel ignores is that hospitals are protected during wartime by international treaties. And this means that attacks on hospitals could constitute war crimes, at least under the ICC. Now, Israel is not a member of the ICC, but Palestinian authorities have been a member state of ICC since 2015. The ICC says this gives it jurisdiction over actions by anyone, including Israel, in Palestinian territories. But Israel is worried that they face arrest warrants against Prime Minister Netanyahu. Last Friday, Netanyahu said that any ICC move would not affect Israel's actions, but set a dangerous precedent that threatens soldiers and public figures. He said, and I'm quoting now, "Under my leadership, Israel will never accept any attempt by the International Criminal Court in The Hague to undermine its basic right to defend itself." While Israel brazens it out over the ICC probe, its closest ally, the US, made a last-ditch effort to save Israel from any legal action. Just like Israel, the US is not a member of the ICC. On Monday, Washington's double-speak on Israel was on display again. The White House spokesperson said that the US did not support the ICC's investigation of Israel and did not believe that the court had jurisdiction. Now, here's why this is interesting. This is the same America that last year said that ICC arrest warrant against the Russian President Vladimir Putin was justified. The US may not be a member of the ICC, but that did not stop it from sharing details of alleged Russian war crimes in Ukraine with the ICC. Hypocritical much? The sheer hypocrisy of America was not lost on Russia. The Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson, Maria Zakharova, called US-Israel policy absurd. Just to put it simply, It seems that the US can only support the ICC if and when it suits its narrative, basically. But America's confused policy aside, the International Criminal Court has assured that it is investigating both sides of the war, including the October 7 attack by Hamas fighters on Israel and the subsequent Israeli offensive in Gaza. If Israel believes it has nothing to be guilty about, it should not be worried about the investigation. After all, these are mechanisms to hold the powerful to account. And the same goes for the United States. If Washington calls itself the champion of rules-based order, it should let the ICC do its job. To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.